It's a fact, you're not here. You ain't even real, but you still bring me fear. You make my bones so tired that my soul stands up. But now I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. It's like I'm starting to need to bleed to fill this cup. Oh. Hello, folks, and welcome to the Working Wing Podcast, the podcast where once a week, or, sometimes for a couple week delay or a month delay.
Yeah, sometimes we miss a month.
we review the West Wing and sometimes Succession and sometimes current events. But right now we're in the West Wing part of it. My name is Killian Collins, and joining me as always, my longtime debate partner and the anarchist answer to Engel's beard, Timothy Schultz.
Great to see you, Kelly. You swiped the intro from me, and I'm a little disappointed because I was going to introduce you as a man who is somehow 1-2 in his fantasy league.
Yeah, we'll get to the football episode too, but goddamn you, Tutu Atwell, for getting a touchdown that's only purpose was to screw my fantasy team, but that's okay. That's neither here nor there. That's just another $30 that I spent this year. That's already
it's all down the drain already.
I still got that one though. I still got that one that I won, so there's hope. But anyway, the two episodes we are reviewing today of The West Wing is we are in the second season, and we are reviewing War Crimes and Indian in the Cupboard, skipping
Indians in the Lobby.
I'm sorry, I think of the movie, The Indians in the Lobby. Yeah, Indian in the Cupboard. Yeah, the episode Indians in the Lobby, which is, of course, a play on that. Skipping the episode A Quiet Place or In a Quiet Time.
Gone Quiet.
Oh.
It's about a missing sub.
Oh, goddamn, of course. Like, I was going to say, it must be like some extradition thing or like, but of course, it's like the West Wing, so they don't like show the person there or anything. That's like that. That's a Star Trek thing.
No. In the West Wing, that conversation about extradition happens with like Josh and some random ambassador at a coffee shop.
Well, I thought they were in Italy. Well, we'll get to that too.
Yeah.
But first, we got to start off with War Crimes. Everyone's favorite accusation and thing that they're doing themselves.
Yes. Yeah. I love. Yeah, this episode is interesting. Like the kind of overarching premise of the title, where like Leo is going all like, we need to be a part of this war crime tribunal.
He seems like he's like, super ideologically prepared, like, remembers the pact after the Second World War of never letting this happen again and bringing those who have brought us to this point to justice truly. Not knowing that the people enforcing these rules would be enacting the same crimes.
Right, exactly. And like we've known that he was in Vietnam and that he knew that Vietnam sucked because he's talked about that in previous episodes. But I guess from his perspective, Vietnam sucked because like him and his friends were dying, and that because
they were losing.
They were losing. They were losing. That was the thing that was bad about Vietnam and how much money it cost.
Which is, of course, like, ignoring the cost, I wouldn't say, I would just say, I wouldn't say ignoring the cost of human life, but just, really just kind of mitigating it.
Yeah.
Which is they do with statistics later on that we'll get to in the second episode, which is my very fresh watch. But anyway, we start off the episode War Crimes with CJ taking a press briefing and is friendly with this, whom I call boy toy number 2, the denim story. And it's this
Danny.
Yeah. And it's like, he's like this kind of like correspondent that like, just goes to these areas where, journalists don't normally go. And the White House is like a boring gig for him.
He's so fucking obnoxious with that bit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm too cool and sexy for this White House.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's definitely the kind of self-righteous journalist that's like, oh, you've been around the world and done this thing, but like you don't shut the fuck up about it. Like,
yeah, and he tells that super cringy story about how like some uncontacted tribe made him a god because he showed them his fucking like 1990s flip phone.
Sounds like C-3PO, Golden Dick.
Anyway, this yeah, but there's a little flirting session at the beginning of this press briefing with them, like, or just a kind of like influx of, oh, I'm going to be back there later and we'll be talking about things. But I was feeling vibes of flirty over there. But
I have a question for you too.
What?
Does the press secretary give this type of briefing just about like a current event to the White House press corps, where she's like relaying every single detail of the shooting in Texas?
Yes, I found that. I was gonna have a note that was.
I thought she would just like come to the lectern and be like,
"We all know this happened. We all know this
happened, and here's the president's statement about this. All right, thank you."
Yeah. Well, yeah, and they really, yeah, and yeah. To your credit, Tim, like the writers really could have done like here's the overall view of like, here's a news reporter giving the report about this event, and then the White House like responds, because they've done that before.
They have done that before, but sometimes they just use CJ directly to feed us exposition about whatever the storyline is.
Yeah, and it was weird because it starts off with this like little light exchange with this reporter to like show it's like, oh, it's gonna be friendly. It might be boy toy number 2. And yes, and then we find out that the 9-year-old who was shot in this, apparently it was a shooting where a guy was trying to kill his ex-wife, and some other dude who had his gun in the church like shot back at him, and a girl got killed in the crossfire.
Yes.
And yeah, that is the story of this tragedy. To which the 9-year-old's killed, and of course the White House isn't going to take, well, I mean, but the thing is, yeah, I to the point of like, of what you said before, like a news report would have really illustrated just, how important it is to the nation. And it's like a subject, as opposed to like how it looked with CJ saying it, where like, it makes it look like the White House is trying to make it a subject.
Yeah, definitely.
Just gives that appearance. But then we get Sam coaching Donna on a deposition that looks like another shady noir scene.
I have zero time for this storyline.
I know,
hate
dude.
This entire fucking storyline.
I know, bro. It was kind of hard to watch.
It's bad. It's bad from top to bottom.
Yeah, but it's the way it's shot is so sketchy too. It's such like another like dark room deal type of thing.
especially like later on. We'll get to it, but yeah. It's a mess.
It is hot mess. And then Josh is mad at her, so he can't, because he's not giving her deposition advice because he's mad at her, which I also like would think that like, well, Josh would probably just like scream at her too.
Yeah, Josh's baby. Josh's baby I have is my note about this.
Yeah, he's just that type of dude. And then Charlie and Sam talk football, which of course were in that season. You got to have that American obsession in there. Like every season, like a bunch of dudes and CJ also like obsess over like what team is doing what, and it's all just a disappointment for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I would say, like, yeah, this time of year, a good like half of our conversations do tend to be about the vagaries of our fantasy teams.
Yeah, or just like or football in general, or any of this. When I don't even watch any. I don't really pay attention to any other sports.
Oh, really? Did you not watch the Packers get fucking shellacked by the Lions?
Oh, I watched that. No. I'm just saying I don't watch other sports other than football. Like, I mean,
same. Football is like a uniquely, it is. Yeah, no one does this for like baseball or really basketball even.
I mean, there are fantasy people for it, but I don't. I mean, I don't know.
The seasons are too long. There's too many fucking games. Like,
it's very easy for normies.
It's 18 weeks.
It's very easy for normies to get into it. Pretty easy. But anyway, they're talking football, and there's like constant little like Charlie dropping in statistics of like who lost. Like, I think they're doing the little. Yeah, they're doing. They're betting who's gonna win. There's been wins and losses and stuff. The Bartletts argue about the church service. I couldn't stand this storyline either, where it's
I like it. There's a level on which I like it, which is just a married couple having some good-natured bickering. And I think Martin Sheen is very charismatic in this scene.
Yeah, but it's bickering about like the showmanship of like the boring ass Catholic priest.
He's
like
right though. He's right though. As someone who has sat through far too many fucking homilies in my lifetime, they all should be forced to take like rhetorics classes and performance classes as a part of seminary.
Well, I would think so too. Like I would think that would be best but I think they really, I think they kind of, I think you think this too. They really rely on the psychological angle.
Oh yeah, no, it's deep. Like, yeah, when you got the hooks in from like infancy, you don't need to be a showman.
Yeah, just like, and I've always said this, Tim. We've said this before. Nintendo is exactly the same way. Nintendo just gets them from birth.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
They do. So true.
Yeah, hackery showmanship. Be subject to one another was his main
all hacks off the stage, presidential order.
He learns that the girl is dead, and he takes great emotional pains in that. Leo and the president suggest sending the vice president Hoynes to Texas to basically just mop up the mess of it.
Yeah, to lecture. I mean, to lecture the NRA, so it looks like they care about gun violence.
Pretty much.
It's what they do in this situation.
But the thing is, they don't want Bartlett to take the hit on it. They want the VP who would be better off doing it. Like his results would probably be better, although he'd have to eat the crow on that. And
he'd have to eat the crow because he's like a Texas gun nut type of guy.
Yeah. House deposition on Donna. She took the coaching directly. Her little lawyer GOP boyfriend wanted her diary. Dun, dun, dun. CJ and the denim boy are in her office and kind of flirting, and he used to be cool field reporter. Tells her that he knows a quote that he's got a quote that Toby said that if the president wins the election, it's going to be on the coattails of the vice president. And she's like, thanks.
Yeah, I just hate Will so much. He's a fucking Mary Sue journalist guy.
Yeah.
I also have a note that she's the guy she tells Danny not to worry about.
Sam negotiates. Sam's negotiating some money for school repair. He's trying to get a bill passed to get money for repairing schools. Essentially, that's kind of what I got out of this. And he's arguing with, I don't know who this guy is that wants the penny removed, but it's like he's on some like financial reform committee.
He works for someone on some financial reform committee. Yeah,
and basically Sam has the proposition of like you need to think of a reason why we can keep the penny. And they keep finding in all episodes they keep finding bad reasons of like why you should get rid of the penny. Like why it like doesn't make sense.
I like fucking like penny obsessed Sam. It's the right energy for that character.
Yes, I think. You're right. Where it's something that's kind of like inconsequential and it kind of doesn't matter.
And he's just being like nerdy and obsessive and annoying to everyone.
Right.
Like that's perfect.
Right. Where he's not like barging into like prostitutes' houses and like demanding that they get political information. Like.
Yeah.
On some real Kennedy shit there. Hoynes meets up with the president and he's like not one to go to Texas and do this. And Bartlett has like the response of like, you're going to go there and do it because that's what Texans do. Texans go there. They
lecture Texans about guns.
Right. That's what Texans do. That's what they're known for. Leo and I don't know who this guy's exact position is. I just have him as old military guy. But like, I don't know, like I think he was like an Air Force person with them. Like that's what they seem to be.
someone from the military industrial complex. And they start off praising MBS and saying what America needs is an MBS. Then they talk about the Flyboy Prince or whatever they're calling him.
Flyboy Prince. You mean what? I mean, I just basically had them just being like, oh no, they were just saying a bunch of like shit about like, oh, we can blow them up in the Middle East, ha 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 ha, which is like kind of the attitude pre 9/11 about like world politics world affairs before that.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia is making noise, but ha 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 ha.
We have missiles, and we can get to. But yeah, he was really upset about the president's radio draft where he mentions, the Nuremberg tribunals and and
Right, the Nuremberg tribunals, where we totally got all the war criminals except the ones that had relevant military research.
Yes.
In which case, we cut deals with all those people.
Yes. Yes, because you can't pass up talent. Can't pass up. That's just talent there.
That's just talent.
CJ then confronts Toby in his office about what he said, and he says, "Oh my god, I totally did say that at one point at the end of a meeting, but we were talking about polling and like this and that thing." And it's like then somebody snitched, and then Toby gets dictatorial and says, "Bring in all the staff, or they're all going to be fired."
Yeah.
Lawyer then confronts Donna on her the lawyer GOP boyfriend dude confronts Donna on her diary away from the deposition, which I'm pretty sure is illegal too. Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, this storyline is just fucking stupid.
It's stupid. And like he lifts up a bunch of statutes to scare her, and she's not shook. And then she walks up to her apartment, and then Sam, he rants about this irrational guy who wants to get rid of the penny and is giving more statistics about why it's bad. And like they sit in drawers, they don't go in vending machines. You can't put them in toll booths except in Illinois, which I thought right away. It's like, oh yeah, Illinois, there you go. Like Lincoln's on, like you can get rid of the coin that has Lincoln on it. Like you can't just do that. Like it's like the best reason I can think of to like not get rid of the penny.
Yeah, we should still get rid of the penny though.
Oh yeah, I mean it's
you could put Lincoln on something else.
Right. Yeah, you could. you totally could. But I mean, that's their whole reason. I mean, if you're trying to think of a reason, of a reason at all to do it, like, you know, if I have to be the contrarian and fight against it, that's the one I would stick with. Like, I would just like hammer that one home. Boy Toy Reporter says, "Yeah, but he's got the natives." Yep, like a golden C-3PO dick. The president and the VP argue about Texas gun legislation. Like, you know, of course, Hoynes is like saying that, the state should take care of it. And it's just like, and you're just using a political opportunity by doing this, which of course, if like they would have had like, if they would have had it be like the national story, like a reporter like reporting on a story of a shooting, which weren't as common in these days. Like,
right. Yeah, no, it's like, this would barely be, unfortunately, it's sad, but this would barely be a blip in like the American consciousness today.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, but then they start listing body counts.
Yeah, I would note that. Yeah, they kind of remind me of just like many conversations you and I have had at 2 a.m. after too many drinks.
Yeah, I mean, kinda, but I mean, of course, I wouldn't just like not advocate for like marijuana legalization. Hoynes threw that out there. It's like, you guys want to legalize pot, and it's like then like Bartlett starts listing off all these statistics about like what other substances and like things.
Yeah, he made the classic like college kid. Like this is an argument I made in so many different papers I wrote in college about marijuana legalization.
Yeah. Definitely. And then they cut away from that. Leo argues for like why you should have like, you know, an international court actually has integrity, be able to hold people accountable. And the military guy is like, no, we have a lot of our boys involved in that too, and we have to give them up. Essentially what we're getting at. And I just jumped down a little bit. Sam interrupts, and Donna arrives looking for Josh. She tells Josh he lies. He berates her totally and tells her to do nothing, and is like freaking out. Is like the worst advice giver ever.
Yeah, no, the worst advice giver ever. It's just like, destroy the fucking diary and then keep lying about it.
Yes.
When the guy says you have a diary, you'd be like, no, you're fucking lying, dude. I don't have a fucking diary. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then Toby tells his mobilized staff that somebody snitched, and you know, you guys can get the fuck out of here right now if you guys aren't totally down. But like, I'm a good boss though. Like, I'm a good boss.
No, he gives a great daddy speech. I haven't know you're saying I want to nuzzle his beard. I don't remember what condition I was in when I wrote this. when I wrote my notes for this episode, but at that moment, I did want to nuzzle his beard.
Like if I was one of his staffers in there, I would be encouraged to leak more shit. Like I'd be like, oh, he called us all in to do this, and like he's like I'm not gonna like fire you or do any of this. Just know, like if you're not really serious about it, you can just leave. Okay, like I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna snitch on. I'm gonna make this guy's life hell, dude. Like, fuck this guy. Like, not how you be a boss.
No, not especially not the kind of White House they run.
No, not at all. So Boy Toy number 2 doesn't like his White House gig, and he's like, it's just stenography and gossip, which is true, but he's such a prick anyway. I want him out of there.
Yeah.
Leo and the military guy are still arguing, and Leo asks, how much of this is hedging our bets? How much of it is that? And then, of course, the military guy,
it's all hedging our bets. You yourself would be tried under this fucking tribunal for murdering dozens of civilians in fucking Malaysia in the fucking late 60s. Like, yes, of course.
Yep, that's it's really unfortunate too, because like mentioning other wars and things that people have been in, it's yeah, you can't look at our boys too and just like assume that like, yeah, we were playing fair the whole fucking time. Like it that's not what ends up happening with wars. It's not how you end up winning them.
Yeah, the moment Leo discovers Vietnam was bad.
Well, of course, the military guy says all wars are crimes, which is like, right. Of course, it's just like this ridiculous, like.
Yeah, so it comes back to excusing everything America has done on the global stage since World War II, being like, well, yes, we bombed civilians, but like, really, if you think about it, all war is crime, anyways.
Right.
Pretty much blows your brain, doesn't it?
Right. It's like something, somehow everything is statistically justified, you know, like really like the fascists and the fascists fighting like the anarchists and the communists in Spain. That's like just like, you know, those fascists were just as justified to do that as the anarchist Spaniards were, like to just defend themselves, you know, just really exactly the same thing, guys.
Ah, man.
All right. Yes. But yes, Leo would find out he would be tried under this if it passed. And then the president Hoynes are still arguing Second Amendment. And then all of a sudden Hoynes is like, okay, I don't want to argue about the Second Amendment. You have you lied about MS. And it's hard for me to dig us out of that after you're doing this. And you're asking me to mop up your mess. And it's like, yeah, it's totally true. But then they realize that they have each other's one's dick in each other's hands, and they're either going to sink or swim together. They can't win without the other, and Hoynes is going to go to Texas anyway.
Yeah.
So kind of a useless, like, what a dance to get to the conclusion that like was going to happen anyway, with like no real resolution there. The real resolution is just like, yeah, we should have realized this in the first place. We just like came in here to argue for a bit.
I mean, when you think about it though, having a heated political debate with no resolution and no point is really the most leftist thing Bartlett has ever done.
Yeah, that's that checks out. Josh and Donna meet with the lawyer dude to give him the fucking diary. Like Josh like gives this dude the diary and says, "Well,
what a fucking idiot!" And he's like, we know you have a tiny pee-pee and you come quick, so be nice, or we'll tell everyone about that.
Well, like we'll tell them what she said in the diary about you. I'm like, is it like it
has to be he has a tiny pee-pee and he come quick. Like that's got to be what we're doing.
So do all these guys. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, to get like some political dirt in your opponent, and all they're gonna be is like say like, well, yeah, one girl slept with him, like, you know, like she totally like said he's got a tiny dick, and she's a total slut, so she like knows what all the dicks look like. Like it's like, yeah, I wouldn't even know if Donna would be up for that. Probably Josh would force her in that situation. That's what I can see happening.
Yeah, Donna is not calling the shots at this point.
No,
for sure.
No, like not at all. Like not like she has like Josh for help, and like Josh has like a manic attack and like gives away evidence that like would totally screw her. Like, yeah, no, it's Yeah, Josh is a bad boss. I kind of wrote here that like Josh is similar to like what Sam was. Yeah. Okay. But then we get to the end of that and we get to episode 8, Indians in the Lobby.
Indians in the Lobby, the Thanksgiving episode.
The Thanksgiving episode. And we have the president rambling to CJ, starting off the episode, rambling to CJ in the Oval Office about turkey, about what to base your turkey with and the way to do it. And CJ can't stand it. And basically, you know, in White House,
her shit on the president. Yeah.
Yeah. In White House forum tells him to shut the fuck up, which is like, which honestly, the way she said it is totally justified, but yeah. So then Josh comes in with, yes, we have 2 Indians in the lobby. I hate this joke.
It's the start of the jokes. Yeah, no, yeah. She's like, okay, and then like it's a joke, and it's like, nope, there are 2 Indians in the lobby. One of whom is Gary Farmer. Shout out Gary Farmer.
Gary Farmer,
fucking excellent in the show Reservation Dogs, which me and my roommates just watched. All 3 seasons out now on Hulu. Fucking awesome show.
All right, I gotta give it a watch.
And Gary Farmer is hilarious in it. He plays old stoner Uncle Brownie.
Oh wow, okay. So, and this is I imagine this is the guy who plays Jack Lonefeather.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, but yes, the 2 Native Americans representatives that they have there are Jack Lonefeather and Morningstar Charles. And they are playing hardball and saying like, well, we're not leaving here until we get this resolution taken care of. And CJ is going, oh, well, I was almost done. I was about to go home. It doesn't even, yikes. Josh then tells Leo that there's 2 natives in the lobby, and Leo's more concerned about the kid from Georgia who shot his teacher, and then his parents shipped him off to Rome to get away from the law.
Based on a true story, I think.
Oh, really?
I think at some point I watched listened to a Dateline episode that sounded like this is what they were basing it off of. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's that. I mean, well, I guess it's the old story of like, I'm rich and I can afford to like bail my kid out, give up my bail, and like give him a plane ticket to get the fuck out of the country.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, Italy also has extradition laws not knowing to give people back.
If they're going to be executed.
Yes. Yeah. If they're going to be executed.
And should we know this kid is like 15 or something, 14, right?
Yeah.
The type of age that only southern United States really likes to execute.
Well, yeah. I mean, statistically, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, there's been other stuff that, I mean, northern states have done their shit too. Like,
that's true. That's true.
Like, I'm not gonna give them all the credit for it. It's like people in the north are just as fucked up as some southern folks are too sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I did. On the 3-week visit, I was in Texas for a while, hung out with a bunch of Southern people. Great, hospitable people, though. Had a wonderful fucking time talking from everything from politics to religion to philosophy, like in all sorts of ways. Found all sorts of philosophies. Very, very, very good folks down there in the Houston area. But I'm sorry, I lost my place. Sam then, Sam is guarding Toby's office and pacing around, and he's pacing around about the poverty line being raised to like 20,000 at the point, which is like hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Yes.
It's really it's fucking sad, but it's funny.
Yeah, and saying that, and they're talking about it's being raised, but like now we have like 4 million more poor people. Or this many more poor people like in the country. And of course, like Josh is thinking like, or Toby's thinking like, well, yeah, we need to have the number that like has less poor people. So we need to lower the poverty line even further. Which they don't keep saying that. They just keep saying less poor people, less poor people, less poor people, less poor. But it's like, it's just calling it something else. It's just defining it like a worse way. And they don't think about, they mention this briefly later. Like, but it's the goal of it all is just like what makes the White House look better? What makes the administration look better?
Yep. Then we go back to the Indians, right? I just have a note. Yeah, they talk about how they've been waiting on a meeting with the state, with the Interior or Indian Affairs Secretary for like what, a decade or something.
Yeah, like a long ass time. That,
and of course, the Biden administration is still like trying to fuck them over and not meet their treaty obligations and shit.
The Biden administration or the Bart?
Oh yeah. Case from the most recent Supreme Court term about how the native reservation in Arizona was guaranteed water rights by the federal government, but the Biden administration is arguing that just because we guaranteed them like the resources to conduct agriculture on that land does not mean that we actually have to provide them water.
That sucks.
It
Those
does.
fucking motherfuckers.
Neil Gorish actually wrote a great dissent to the Supreme Court ruling, where it's actually one of the strongest like Supreme Court decisions or opinions outlining a like pro-native rights view, possibly in American history, from Neil Gorish of all people.
Wow,
Go figure.
Neil Gorish is what pick again? Like
he was a Trump pick. He was Trump's first pick.
Wow, interesting.
Normally, I mean, he's a horrible person, super corporatist, ultra conservative. But when it comes to native rights, he's like possibly the most pro-native rights man to ever sit on the Supreme Court.
Which honestly just doesn't say a lot of good about like the Supreme. I think we've already.
It doesn't say a lot of good about where the Supreme Court has been historically on that issue,
exactly,
or where even liberals who have sat on the court in the past 20 years have been. So,
and I think this goes without saying. I think we all probably think that like even despite the liberals who fight the conservatives, we kind of can't stand like any of them really. Like still at the end of the day, it's pretty like their politics. Something in their politics comes out to be pretty deplorable.
Yes,
but this is a game of compromises.
It is a game of compromises. We have a really boring like. Coastal elites just fucking love complaining about various airports, and that's what this scene between Josh and Donna centers around.
Yeah,
because Josh refuses to stop in Atlanta's airport for some reason.
Atlanta's airport, or
yeah, I think it was. He's like no layovers. He's like, because that's the thing, right? He wants Donna to find him a flight from Washington to Florida that does not involve a layover in Atlanta.
Okay. Well, I mean, they needed it for the plot line anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Then Sam takes Josh aside and they talk Italy and why they won't extradite. Josh favors lowering the poverty line to have led to have the statistics of less poor people to get ignored. The president grumbles at Charlie on Camp David and on cooking. Toby has like some. What was it about? Like some report about like, hey, are we able to like, fund cell phones for neighborhood watches? All these Karens really need cell phones so they can call the police whenever they can and not use their landline. Like, but there's that. Toby supports the Karen support. New OMB definitions define poor people. Defines for fewer poor people and lower the poverty line. Leo and the president recommend. Oh yeah, Leo and the president are talking, and the president apparently reprimanded some guy who deserves.
Oh yeah, no, all right. Yeah, it's like a fucking Moliere play going on.
Yeah,
it's like mischief amongst the servants, and the lords are suffering for it. That type of shit.
Okay. President needs Bruno right now. He needs him stat. Sam gets stats about the poverty line statistics that are from Poland in the 1960s. Josh talks to the guy on why his kid he talks to the DA in Georgia in his layover. And talks to him about like why the kid. Oh no, sorry.
That's later. That's much later.
That's much later.
first we get one of the best product placement segments in the history of American television, which is the President of the United States calling the Butterball hotline.
Wait, the Butterball hotline is real?
Yeah, that's
what?
a real thing.
What, Tim? Like, what? I can call them and I get those statistics right when I need them 24 hours a day?
Yes, Killian, you can.
That's crazy.
I'm
Tim.
surprised they didn't have the number of the fucking hotline just scrawled across the screen at that time. But it's really funny. It's a really nice piece of comedy.
Yeah.
Toby is just sitting there and immediately goes into political operative mode, being like, all right, we're gonna need the zip code for Fargo, North Carolina. Like, yeah, just yes-anding the president at every turn.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. But when Josh talks to this Italian ambassador in a cafe about why they need to extradite the kid, and the Italian gentleman offers a reason of like, well, he gives an analogy about a little girl throwing a tantrum in a restaurant and a father like beating her over the head with a bottle of wine and saying that like, this is my kid, like I can do it, I can punch him any way I want to. Shouldn't that person be out of the equation? Josh doesn't have the moral capacity to argue with that. He's got too many moral convictions to argue against that. So he leaves. He leaves defeated and says, we're not going through Italy. I guess we'll have to we'll do it from our end and talk to the DA about like taking the death penalty off the table so I can extradite him. CJ is at an impasse with the Native American. She can't really contact anybody or really do anything to help them out at all. She's finding all this red tape for herself, and she just wants to go home. Everyone's gone, and like even her secretary is like, yeah, don't you kind of want to give up on this right now? Toby and Josh are talking about juking the numbers at this point. The president comes to, president waves the pole. Well, once Bruno comes and meets the president, Bruno is waving this pole in his face about saying like, oh, you took a poll on where I think Thanksgiving should be. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to like do anything that's possible to make sure that you get elected. I'm a like, yeah, it's like, it's my job, sir. Like, I'm a strategist. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. It costs us nothing. It costs us nothing. We don't have to give up anything for us to do this. And it's like, you just kind of serve at a whim to do this. You serve at the whim of the people. You're trying to get reelected, sir. Do that shit later on when you're a lame duck.
Yeah. Yep.
He has a sailboat story about kelp and getting the kelp off the boat with a rod, but not doing it in a way that the waves do it themselves. Yada yada.
Yada yada yada.
Wax on, wax off.
Realism, yeah.
CJ's trying with Leo to like do something for the natives in the lobby. He's not having it.
Yeah, Leo is just like, yeah, I agree they're right, but still, fuck them. It could make us look bad, so get rid of them.
He's like, I am facing war crimes. Like I am a war criminal.
I am prepping my war crime tribunal defense, CJ. Fuck off.
Go ahead. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say the president. Then we have that scene where the president's with Toby and he calls the butterball.
Yes. No, great. It's like a fucking college improv skit.
Makes up like a bad name and location, which I hope was improvised and not written for him. But yeah, bad fake name. Ask for statistics and of internal temperatures of turkeys and stuffing. Josh talks to Leo about why he's got to get the kid back at the DA and his layover in Atlanta when he's at the airport.
Because Leo does not want the Pope getting involved in this story because it would dredge up some old anti-Catholic bullshit.
So I'm not touching this one. Sam tells Toby that he can't hide. Sam tells Toby that he's made the realization that we can't hide the poor. We can't. How can we help them if we don't represent them? They'll go Republican. which I'm like, yeah, you're not entirely wrong with that prediction there.
No, you're not. You're not. But they just chose not to help them anyways.
Yeah. CJ secretary asked her about, hey, security's gonna like gonna like kick those people out of the lobby.
Yeah,
Like,
CJ has like the worst fucking job here. She really does.
Toby and Bruno talk stats, and Bruno's like, I think it's disturbing that you think that 20 people who make 21 grand a year are comfortable. Like that's already pretty bad too.
Bruno makes some really great points in this episode, and no one appreciates him enough.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. It shows that like to be an analyst, it's like, yeah, you can totally have the heart, but like you're constantly thinking about these things. You have to be on that, and I like him as this type of character rather than like I feel like Toby and Josh, which are just slaves of their own emotions.
Right. If we had a real life Democratic Bruno who like was actually good at politics, I feel like we would all be better off. But we don't.
I think we need more people who have a better understanding of labor and the economy to actually be in there and not be at the whim of just serving at any of these defensive defenses.
But like,
to
your point, if Bernie had like a Bruno on his side, I think maybe the 2016 primary would have gone very differently.
And also, if they had listened to the Bruno at all, like that's another thing too. Because I think the people that I think he had running his campaign and he was listening to, I think were closer with the Democratic. Closer with strategy with the Democrats than I would have liked, but what can you do? Josh has a layover in Atlanta with the
and
DA.
He literally just bribes the DA. That's literally what happens. He literally is like, oh, there's not money in there, is there? Oh no, don't worry. It's not actually money in this envelope. It's just a list of names of people who are going to pay you on my behalf to do this favor for me. So it's bribery with extra steps.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not bribing you. Here's a list of people who are going to bribe you.
Right. So, make sure you get that. And even if you're trying to do that, just try to like just frame it in the way of like, well, we can't extradite him unless you take this off. Like, I'm sorry, that's just the way it's going to happen. Not even having to bribe. Like, it's just like, well, that's just not going to happen. Like, it's just, that's basically like where he's at with it. But yeah, absolutely. These last two episodes, Josh just like bribing people and like but still not destroying evidence. Like
he should have just destroyed evidence. That would have been the absolutely correct move in that situation.
I have a feeling later on, Josh will start working for Rudy Giuliani and like.
I could see it. They're both New York guys, right? Or
they're both New York guys. They're both New York schmucks that are just like, like they get their head stuck into some bit of sand or like some silly situation and they got to wiggle their way out of it, and then hilarity ensues. Hey, it was a deal that was gonna make him millions of dollars. He was gonna be close with the most powerful man in the world. But then it all changed one day.
The Josh Lyman story.
Yeah. Okay. Then we have Amy getting wheeled into I guess like the presidential like bedroom, with a broken leg, wheeled up to the president. And
it's Abby, not Amy.
I'm sorry. Oh my apologies. I wrote down Amy. Yeah, Abby Bartlett gets wheeled in with a broken leg to the president. And Bartlett tells her that we're having dinner at the White House instead of Camp David, and she's like,
she reveals that that she had seen the polling information about where they ate, and he's like, Jack Hughes, and they have a cute little scene. See, I love the married couple stuff. I really do. I think it works. I think Stockard Channing and Martin Sheen are both just great actors, and it's always great to see them working together.
Well, it's the time too. That's the only time I really feel like you see the most humanity, because a lot of it is just like people talking statistics and arguing.
Yeah.
And like, you can't just have all of that. You kind of need to have like space that out with like some human dialogue of what people are talking about, like when they're just like amongst themselves.
Yeah. It's like what Sorkin tried to do the same thing when he wrote The Social Network, but it didn't work because he like gave Mark Zuckerberg a girlfriend, and that was just so clearly preposterous that it didn't work.
Oh God. I haven't watched The Social Network. I've heard what's interesting about it is that like they use a lot of legal testimony as script.
Yeah, they do.
And I think that's pretty cool. So I got to give that a watch. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But then we end the episode with CJ offering the two natives in the lobby a meeting on Monday. We promise this time we'll do it.
For sure. For sure. You know CJ is going to be like out sick that day.
Right. Yeah. So the cycle continues. They'll be wiped out in 2 generations. The American way.
But yeah, once again, everyone should go watch Reservation Dogs. It's truly an incredible show.
Yeah. Ending with a what choice do we have?
Yeah.
So what episodes we watching next week? We're just gonna keep on going continuous.
Yeah, let's see here. Looking at this, I think we definitely have to watch The Woman of Kamar because that's going to just drive us crazy. And Bartlett we have to watch the next 2 for sure.
Of Kamar. I imagine Woman of Kamar is like also going to be like another pre 9/11 geopolitical story.
Oh, just you wait, Killian. Just you wait.
Well, yeah. Just jumping back into it. This feels already a lot better after being back a month. Still feels like natural. You never forget.
No, you never forget.
You never forget how to podcast, even when you
never forget how to tear apart the politics of early 2000s neoliberals.
Yeah, Iron Sorkin. While still getting, surprisingly enough, you see like some foreshadowing of them seeing something as like, oh, this isn't gonna, like, oh, like this could happen, which it totally did.
Yeah. No, this season is, I think, very interesting in that specific context, and we will continue to talk about it as it unfolds. I think we might be switching back to an early morning streaming time, but you will catch us when y'all catch us. Until then, keep working.
Keep on working.